In a land where crocodiles are gods and your left hand can destroy friendships, where a single greeting can last 10 minutes and refusing water is an unforgivable sin, there exists a country that named itself after integrity itself. This is Burkina Faso, the land of upright people. But here's what nobody tells you. In some villages, if you're unmarried by 25, the elders will literally choose your spouse for you in a ceremony involving sacred masks and ancestral spirits. The question isn't whether you'll find love here. It is whether love will be chosen for you. What you're about to discover will challenge everything you think you know about West Africa. Because this isn't just another documentary about a country most people can't find on a map. This is about a place where the impossible lives next door to the everyday. And where being upright means something far deeper than you've ever imagined. You're about to uncover 15 mind-blowing facts that reveal the true soul of Burkina Faso. Not the sanitized version in travel brochures, but the raw, beautiful, sometimes shocking reality of what it means to live in the land of upright people. These aren't just random facts. They're pieces of a puzzle that, when assembled, reveal one of Africa's most misunderstood nations. If you want to join us on more journeys like this one, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because we're taking you to places where the extraordinary hides in plain sight. Stay until the end, because I need to know. After hearing these stories, would you have the courage to call this place home? Your answer might surprise you. Number 1. The president who deleted his country from history. On August 4th, 1983, a 33-year-old captain did something no African leader had ever done before. He erased his country's colonial name forever. Thomas Sankara didn't just change Upper Volta to Burkina Faso. He performed surgery on a nation's identity. Burkina means honest in Moore, and Faso means fatherland in Dioula. Together, land of upright people. But here's the twist. Sankara made wearing imported clothes a form of treason. Every government official had to wear locally made Faso Danfani cotton. Imagine if your president banned Nike and Adidas tomorrow. This wasn't just fashion. It was psychological warfare against colonial mentality. 4 years later, Sankara was assassinated. Yet today, 37 years after his death, people still whisper his quotes like prayers. The man who renamed a country's soul never lived to see if his revolution would survive. What do you think? Was erasing colonial history necessary or impossible? Drop your thoughts below. But if you think that's where Burkina Faso's relationship with identity ends, you haven't met the spirits yet. Number 2. When wood becomes God. Every mask in Burkina Faso has a job. Not decoration, not art, a job. The Mossy Wando masks, those towering planks of wood that look like abstract sculptures, are actually cosmic employment agencies. They decide who gets promoted to ancestorhood after death. During funeral rites, these masks perform a terrifying dance that lasts hours. They're not just honoring the dead, they're conducting a job interview with the spirit world. If the spirits approve the performance, the deceased becomes an ancestor with real power over the living. Fail the audition? Your spirit becomes a wandering outcast. Here's what will blow your mind. The carver of each mask must follow sexual abstinence rules for the entire creation period. One night of passion can pollute the wood, making it spiritually powerless. Imagine telling a Tinder date you can't sleep with them because you're carving God. These aren't museum pieces. These are judge, jury, and cosmic court rolled into one piece of carved wood. Number 3. The reptiles that grant wishes. 60 kilometers west of Ouagadougou lies a pond where the impossible happens daily. Children sit on the backs of crocodiles. Elders rest their hands on prehistoric jaws. Tourists pay money to be photographed with creatures that could kill them with a single snap. The crocodiles of Cebu aren't just tame, they're considered direct communication lines to the ancestor world. Each crocodile embodies a specific deceased elder. Need a job? Sit on Grandfather Tingo's back. Want children? Whisper to Aunt Bila's teeth. But here's the catch. These sacred crocodiles are actually the result of a brilliant tourist scam that became spiritually real. It started as a way to make money from gullible visitors, but after decades of ritual, the local community genuinely believes the spirits moved in. Fake spirituality that became authentic through faith, is that still fake? The crocodiles seem to know the answer. They've never attacked a single person in 50 years. Tell me in the comments, do you believe intention can make the artificial sacred? If you think spiritual economics is complex, wait until you hear about Burkina Faso's approach to romance. Number 4. Where Cupid carries a lawsuit. In many Burkinabé communities, love isn't a feeling, It's a legal contract negotiated between families before the lovers even meet. But here's where it gets wild. If you're a man over 25 and still unmarried, village elders can literally conscript you into marriage during specific ceremonies. The Mossi have a tradition called taking by force, not what you think. If a young woman shows interest in a man by bringing him water 3 times, her family can demand marriage negotiations begin immediately. Refusing? That's a community offense that can result in social exile. But women aren't powerless. In many ethnic groups, if a married woman's husband doesn't satisfy her sexually, she can publicly shame him by hanging a broken calabash outside their compound. The entire village will know he's broken in bed. Imagine if your sexual performance became neighborhood gossip overnight. And here's the beautiful paradox. Despite these seemingly rigid rules, Burkina Faso has some of the most romantic poetry traditions in West Africa. Griot singers can improvise love songs on the spot that would make Shakespeare weep. Love by law, romance by heart. Sometimes the most passionate relationships begin with a contract. Number 5. The Thursday that stops time. Every Thursday in Gorom Gorom, something magical happens. Tuareg nomads emerge from the Sahara like ghosts materializing from sand. Fulani cattle herders drive their zebu across impossible distances. Bella traders arrive with goods that shouldn't exist in a landlocked country. This isn't just a market, it's a weekly miracle. In a single day, the population of this small town triples. Languages that exist nowhere else in combination blend into a trading pidgin that sounds like music. The economic value of goods exchanged equals the annual budget of some countries. But here's the mind-bender. Everything operates on trust systems that predate written contracts by centuries. A handshake can seal deals worth thousands of dollars. Your reputation, passed down through generations, is your credit score. The most valuable commodity isn't gold or livestock, it's information. News from Mali, gossip from Niger, weather patterns from Chad, information that determines where nomads will graze, what crops will grow, which routes are safe. Have you ever made a major deal on just a handshake? Type 1 in the comments if you believe trust beats contracts, or 2 if you think written agreements are essential. When Friday morning comes, Gorom Gorom returns to sleepy normalcy. Until you realize what just happened was economic wizardry without banks, contracts, or credit cards. Number 6. The village where every home is a masterpiece. In the village of Tiabale, near the Ghanaian border, architecture isn't built. It's painted into existence by women who never attended art school, but create patterns that would make Picasso jealous. Every Cassina home becomes a canvas where sacred geometry meets daily life. These aren't random decorations, they're a coded language. Zigzag patterns represent the path of ancestors. Circles indicate protection spells. Triangles mark fertility blessings. Each house tells a story that only women know how to read. Here's the secret. These patterns must be repainted after every rainy season, but each woman can only paint her section according to her status in the family hierarchy. The eldest wife paints the main entrance, the most prestigious position. Younger wives get smaller sections, but they're training for the day they inherit the geometric codes. The pigments come from local resources that would make a chemistry lab envious. White from Cheolin clay, black from charcoal mixed with locust bean pods, red from ochre deposits. These women are master chemists disguised as housewives. What tradition from your culture do you think deserves world recognition? Let us know in the comments. If you think painted houses are impressive, wait until you see what these people do with fire and metal. Number 7. The ancient magic hidden in plain sight. In the workshops of Ouagadougou's artisan village, men performed daily miracles that would confuse modern science. They turned beeswax into bronze sculptures using techniques that predate the Industrial Revolution by millennia. The lost wax casting process sounds like alchemy. First, create a perfect wax replica of your vision. Then, wrap it in clay mixed with cow dung and ancient prayers. Heat it until the wax melts away, leaving a hollow void in the exact shape of your imagination. Pour molten bronze into the emptiness. Break the clay to reveal your metal dream. But here's what tourists never see. Each artisan must abstain from sex for 3 days before casting. The spiritual heat of passion allegedly interferes with the physical heat of bronze. Ancient metallurgy meets modern celibacy requirements. The most sought-after pieces are bronze replicas of traditional masks. Ironic twist. Wooden masks that represent spirits are recreated in metal that lasts forever. Temporary spirituality made permanent through fire. In a world of 3D printing and mass production, these men still create magic one flame at a time. Number 8. The ancient brew that decides everything. Forget craft beer. In Burkina Faso's villages, there's a brew that's been perfecting its recipe for over 1,000 years. Dolo, the traditional millet beer, isn't just a drink. It's a social institution that determines village hierarchy, resolves disputes, and seals spiritual contracts. Only certain women can brew authentic dolo, and the recipe isn't written anywhere. It's passed down through dream. Each dolotier, female brewer, claims her deceased grandmother visits her sleep to adjust the proportions. Modern quality control through ancestral consultation. Here's the power dynamic. The dolotier's courtyard becomes the village's unofficial courthouse. Disputes are settled over shared calabashes. Marriage negotiations happen between sips. Political alliances form in the foam. The woman who controls the beer controls the conversation. The calabash vessels are works of art, each one carved and decorated to indicate the drinker's social status. Elders get the largest, most ornate gourds. Young men get small, plain ones. Refuse your assigned calabash? That's a social death sentence. Would you trust a beer brewed from ancestor dreams? Share your most unusual drinking experience below. But if village beer politics seem complex, wait until you hear about the food that tests your soul. Number 9. The slimiest truth test in Africa. Sauce gombo, okra sauce, is Burkina Faso's ultimate authenticity detector. This isn't food, it's a cultural lie detector test served in a bowl. The consistency resembles liquid rubber. The appearance suggests something medical. And the taste? Well, that's where it gets interesting. Locals can instantly identify outsiders by their reaction to the first spoonful. Grimace? Tourist? Hesitate? Newcomer? Dive in with enthusiasm? You belong. The sauce's notorious sliminess comes from the okra's natural mucilage, the texture that either embraces you or repels you forever. But here's the secret ingredient that changes everything: sumbala, fermented locust beans. The smell hits you like a biological weapon, but the umami flavor is so complex it makes Japanese dashi seem simple. This fermented paste takes weeks to prepare and smells like feet, but tastes like concentrated savoriness. The ultimate test: eating toe, stiff millet porridge, with gombo sauce using only your right hand, forming perfect balls, and maintaining conversation while navigating the slippery texture. Master this, and you've passed Burkina Faso's unofficial citizenship exam. Could you pass the sauce gombo test? Tell us about the strangest food that's tested your cultural adaptability. Number 10. When your skin tells your story. In Burkina Faso, your face is your passport, family tree, and resume rolled into one permanently etched document. Traditional scarification marks don't just identify your ethnic group, they reveal your birth order, spiritual protection level, and family's social standing. Each ethnic group has signature patterns. Mossi have 3 vertical lines on each cheek. Fulani sport delicate geometric designs around the temples. Bobo display bold circular patterns. These aren't tattoos you can cover up, they're lifetime commitments carved into childhood skin. But here's the modern paradox. Younger generations are abandoning the practice, creating a visual generation gap. Elders look at smooth-faced youth and see cultural death. Young people look at scarred elders and see outdated traditions. The skin becomes a battlefield between past and future. The most fascinating aspect? Each scar pattern includes spiritual protection codes, specific marks believed to ward off evil spirits, bad luck, or illness. In a continent where belief in spiritual forces remains strong, smooth skin might mean supernatural vulnerability. Your skin is your spiritual armor. In a world of cosmetic enhancement, imagine if your protection required permanent marking. Number 11. The slow-motion tsunami of sand. Every year, the Sahara Desert advances 48 kilometers south into Burkina Faso. That's not erosion. That's invasion. Entire villages disappear under sand dunes that move like frozen waves, burying generations of history beneath golden silence. But Burkina Faso fights back with ancient technology that's more sophisticated than modern agriculture. The Zai technique involves digging precise holes that capture rainwater and concentrate nutrients. What looks like random holes is actually a mathematical system for stealing water from desert winds. Here's the miraculous part. This traditional technique can reclaim completely dead land. Areas that were barren wasteland for decades suddenly explode with green growth after Zai treatment. It's reverse desertification accomplished with simple hand tools and ancestral knowledge. The tragedy? Climate change is accelerating the desert's advance faster than communities can implement solutions. Villages are playing a high-stakes race against sand, where losing means cultural extinction. How do you think ancient techniques compare to modern technology in fighting climate change? Share your thoughts below. But even as the desert advances, one tree stands as nature's ultimate survivor. Number 12. The gold that grows on trees. The shade tree is Burkina Faso's secret weapon against poverty, and it's operated exclusively by women. While men struggle with failing crops and uncertain employment, women have built an economic empire from nuts that grow on trees they don't even own. The processing is backbreaking. Gather, boil, dry, crush, roast, grind, knead, and finally extract the precious butter. It takes 20 kilograms of nuts to produce 1 kilogram of shea butter. Every jar represents days of communal labor and ancient techniques. Here's the economic miracle. Global demand for natural cosmetics has transformed shea butter from a local necessity to international gold. Women's cooperatives now export directly to Europe and America, bypassing traditional male-dominated trade networks. But the real revolution is social. Shea income gives women financial independence in cultures where men traditionally control money. Mothers can now pay for children's education, make household decisions, and even leave unsatisfactory marriages. Economic empowerment through ancient trees. The shea tree is sacred. Cutting one down is spiritually forbidden. These women have turned religious conservatism into economic liberation. Environmental protection meets feminist economics through traditional knowledge. One tree, 2,000 years of tradition, and the power to change women's lives forever. Number 13. Where stories become revolution. Every 2 years, Ouagadougou transforms into the Hollywood of Africa. FESPACO, the Pan-African Film and Television Festival, brings together filmmakers from across the continent to tell stories that challenge, inspire, and reshape Africa's narrative about itself. This isn't just entertainment, it's cultural warfare. For decades, the world's story about Africa came from outside. FESPACO reversed that narrative by creating space for Africans to tell their own stories, in their own languages, from their own perspectives. But here's what makes it revolutionary. Many screenings happen outdoors, in village squares, projected onto white sheets. Cinema becomes a communal experience where entire communities gather to see themselves reflected in stories. Imagine if Hollywood movies premiered in your neighborhood park. The festival discovers talent that later conquers international cinema. Directors who started at FESPACO now win awards at Cannes and Venice. The small, landlocked country that produces few commercial films became the launchpad for Africa's cinematic renaissance. What story from your culture deserves to be told on the big screen? Share your ideas below. But if you think cultural influence is Burkina Faso's greatest export, you haven't heard about their ultimate creation. Number 14. When integrity becomes identity. Mogo, a Moore word meaning the person, isn't just vocabulary. It's Burkina Faso's entire philosophy condensed into 5 letters. To have Mogho means possessing inherent dignity that can't be bought, sold, or stolen. It's the spiritual DNA of the land of upright people. This concept shaped Thomas Sankara's revolution. His famous declaration, "You cannot kill ideas," wasn't political rhetoric. It was Mogho philosophy. The belief that human dignity transcends circumstances, survives oppression, and outlasts dictators. Here's how it works in daily life. If you have Mogho, you'd rather starve than steal. You'd rather walk than take transport you can't afford. You'd rather remain silent than lie for advantage. Integrity becomes more valuable than comfort. The beautiful paradox. In one of the world's poorest countries, people regularly choose dignity over profit. Street vendors who could easily shortchange tourists refuse to do so. Government officials, some, who could steal foreign aid money, instead invest it properly. Type 3 in the comments if you think maintaining personal integrity is worth financial sacrifice. Or 4 if you believe survival sometimes requires moral compromise. Mogho explains why a small, landlocked country dared to rename itself after its values. But that philosophy is being tested like never before. Number 15. When integrity faces its greatest test, the most shocking fact about Burkina Faso isn't historical. It's happening right now. Over 2 million people have been forced from their homes by security threats that have transformed one of Africa's most stable countries into a humanitarian crisis zone. But here's where the upright people philosophy reveals its true power. In displacement camps, communities recreate their traditional structures. Elders still settle disputes. Artisans continue creating. Children attend makeshift schools. Cultural identity survives even when physical homes disappear. The most remarkable sight: displaced families sharing their meager rations with newer arrivals who have even less. Mogo in action, maintaining dignity while helping others preserve theirs. Integrity multiplying under pressure instead of breaking. Yet this crisis is changing the country forever. Young people who've never known their ancestral villages are creating new traditions. Ancient cultures are adapting to urbanization at lightning speed. Evolution and preservation happening simultaneously. The question that haunts every conversation: will the land of upright people survive this test? Or will security concerns finally break the Mogo philosophy that has defined the nation for generations? After learning all this, do you think cultural identity can survive any crisis? Share your thoughts on what makes people truly upright. 15 facts. 15 windows into a soul? But here's the revelation that ties them all together. Burkina Faso isn't just the land of upright people because Thomas Sankara said so. It's upright because every mass ceremony chooses dignity over death. Every market transaction chooses trust over profit. Every woman painting her house chooses beauty over bare survival. Every dolotier brewing beer chooses community over isolation. The crocodiles of Cebu aren't sacred because they're dangerous. They're sacred because the people chose to see divinity in reptiles. The bronze casters don't abstain from sex because metal demands it. They do it because creation deserves sacrifice. The village women don't paint geometric patterns because tradition requires it. They do it because beauty matters more than functionality. This is what integrity actually looks like. Not perfection, but choice. The daily choice to remain upright when gravity pulls toward collapse. To maintain Mogo when circumstances suggest abandoning dignity might be easier. Right now, as desert advances and security deteriorates, as young people question ancient ways and globalization challenges traditional values, the upright people face their ultimate test, not whether their land will survive, but whether their uprightness will. The masks still dance, the bronze still flows, the women still paint, the crocodiles still bless, the stories still get told. Because being upright isn't about standing in perfect conditions, it's about refusing to fall when everything else is falling around you. Remember the hands offering cola nuts that began our journey? Now you know those aren't just hands, they're the continuation of thousand-year-old traditions. That greeting isn't just politeness, it's Mogo in action. That ceremony isn't just ritual, it's a community choosing its values. The crocodiles you thought were sacred tourist attractions are actually living symbols of a people's determination to find divinity in the impossible. The masks you thought were art objects are employment agencies for the afterlife. The painted houses you thought were decoration are actually libraries written in geometric code. And that question about elders choosing your spouse? It's not about arranged marriage. It's about a society that refuses to let individuals face life's biggest decisions alone. Community stepping in when love needs guidance. In a world obsessed with individual success, Burkina Faso whispers ancient wisdom. Uprightness isn't about standing alone. It's about standing together. It's about choosing integrity when no one's watching. It's about making dignity your default setting. The land of upright people never promise perfection. They just promise to keep trying to stand. If this journey through the land of upright people left you seeing the world differently, if these 15 facts changed how you think about integrity, community, and what it means to stand up for your values, share this story. And tell us, after walking through these stories with us, what does it mean to you to be upright? What would you sacrifice to maintain your integrity? Which of these 15 facts challenged you most? If you believe stories like these matter, stories that reveal the soul of places instead of just their surfaces, join our community. Because every week, we're uncovering the secrets, the beauty, and the profound humanity of places the world thinks it knows. Until next time, stay upright.